Hey everyone, welcome back to Modern Indie Artist Podcast, where I talk to independent musicians from all walks of life to explore their journey as a modern independent artist. All right, man, what is up? This is the first time I'm actually talking to you ever.
I know I feel like it's been long overdue. I've been chatting with you for a couple years now. I feel like, like online.
It's been I don't know, man. It's ever since the inception of Era, pretty much. Or a little bit after, I guess, after we got started to get well known and stuff, and then we started chatting after that.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, man, but I'm glad to finally talk to you, and thanks for having me on here, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, man. Introduce yourself and the name of your band.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Clayton King down here in Austin, Texas, and I play in a band called So It Begins. We've been around since probably like 2014. Still cranking.
2014, man. You guys been cranking out for a while.
Man, we have, and we've gone through a couple member changes, but I think right now we're like pretty solid in our lineup. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was right afterwards, and I'm sure we'll get into this later. But our vocalist, who I think you're buddies with, Clayton, he showed me. I'd never heard of y'all before ever, and this is like 2013 maybe. And yeah, he showed me Impulse, and then I think y'all's very first EP or something, and I was mind blown. And so ever since then, it kind of influenced the way I wrote, and then all of our stuff ever since. So it's pretty cool, like coming full circle, and then talking to you now.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty crazy. It's almost like small world,
It is, yeah, it is, man.
Where are you now?
I moved a lot of places, but I would say I'm from like Midland, Odessa, which is West Texas, so oil field out there. Mm-hmm. And then I moved back here after I graduated from Texas Tech, and I'm in Austin right now. So I got a little house here and have my own home studio that I get to write and record people, and yeah, I'm just having a blast, man.
That's
love
cool.
Love Texas. You're in Alabama, right?
Yeah, I'm a Southern boy, just like you, man.
Yeah, you're not too far away.
Yeah, a little bit above you, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm still from the South, so I see all your posts about like your studio and stuff. That's really cool, dude. You record your own stuff too, right? From So It Begins, right?
Yeah, I do. Thanks, man. By the way, I produce most of our stuff, or pretty much all of it going in. And then, yeah, we go to Corey Bruneman down in San Antonio. But yeah, other than that, I write and record everything here. And then the band comes down for like demoing with vocals and pre-production stuff. And then we kind of finalize it and go down. But it's been a blast, man. I don't know about you, but because you have your own house, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, just having your own space is like, it's so nice.
Especially if you're a creator, dude. You have to have your own like room where you create. For me, that's this room right here. This is my studio. I do everything in here, all my filming, all my production, and pretty much anything, really. Just anything creative is in this room.
Yeah, same thing. I film everything in here and record, and it's like my little safe space to make stuff in. So, by the way, I saw you kind of do like progress pics. This is probably a long time ago, but when you were putting that room together, it looked sick, by the way.
Yeah, man, that's the room we're in now. Like, man, it looked bad. This wall over here was like a different color than the rest of the walls, and like it was bad. But we repainted the floors and like complete revamp, dude. And this is the only room that looks this nice.
Hell yeah! Hey, it's the most important room in the house, right?
Yeah, I mean it's where we kind of make our living here, so we gotta make sure it looks nice and feels nice in here. I see that Power Ranger helmet back there, dude. The Red Ranger, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got my matching coffee cup right now to totally nerd out. Yeah, I'm just a big old 12-year-old. I think everybody in the band is actually, like our vocalist. He's got all the Green Ranger stuff, and we're just a bunch of little kids.
That's so weird. Like you're super duper into like the Red Ranger, and he's like into the Green Ranger.
Yeah, but this was like all before we ever met. I came to his house for the first time, and he's got this man cave of just like the craziest 90s stuff you've ever seen. So like Nintendo 64s, like all that stuff, every old game console, and then a bunch of like Power Ranger stuff. And so I saw him, I was like, oh yeah, we're going to be best buds for sure.
Yeah, I remember Power Rangers. I was a big nerd too. Like I'm all about the Blue Ranger, dude. Nerd Billy.
Dude, Billy was such a rad dude though. He was like the glue that kept the team together.
Dude, honestly, he sucked as a Power Ranger, but I just like Like he was never really that cool in the show. Like he was just like the nerd. Like when he fought, it was like maybe like a punch here or a kick there, but he never got in there really.
He kind of was the most trash Power Ranger, but that's all right.
Yeah.
You need one, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't all be great.
I thought he was really cool in the movie though. Like that, what was it? The 2000, I can't remember what year it was, 2017 or 18.
Yeah, dude, he was. They like revamped him to be like a cool character this time around.
Yeah, that scene where the Blue Ranger basically dies, dude, that pulled on my heart a lot, dude. That's why I love that movie, because it was like kind of emotional too.
Dude, I know. I was like, wait, I feel so grown up now, like feeling things about all this. Yeah, it was a good movie though.
Yeah. Okay, so recently you did a feature for a band, Sailing Before the Wind, I think it was.
Yeah, Sailing Before the Wind. They're a Japanese metalcore band.
Yeah, dude, I saw that, and then I think I saw your dad actually because your dad added me on Facebook, and I think he posted about the fact that song had went on to be on the Billboard in Japan or something.
Yeah, apparently, which is mind blowing. But yeah, I guess it topped the like hard rock and metal charts for a couple weeks, and then I mean, metal is huge over there. But they sent me a picture like the grocery store or something. They had like a CD bin, and theirs was like right there at the front, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, but they're super rad dudes. I don't know if you've ever seen a video of them, but they always post these live like performance videos on Facebook, and they go insanely hard, like fully choreographed.
Dude, I think I did see their video on Facebook. Like, actually sound really good live to me, in my opinion. But that's awesome that that band charted on the Billboard, and you got to be a part of that. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy. Batoku, and I hope I'm saying that right, the bass player who I think is kind of like the team leader of the band, he hit me up on Instagram like a year ago and was like, hey, would you ever be interested? And I checked their stuff out, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then I didn't hear anything back for a long time. And then they hit me up and were like, hey, we're releasing this in like a month or two. Like, are you still down? I was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. So I wrote it, did that, and they got it out. And yeah, it turned out really cool, man. Their stuff, very nice.
Yeah, man, they're pretty good. All right, so I kind of wanted to get into basically, so what the podcast is about, is just like musicians from every walk of being independent, basically. Like we have people that are independent, that have been independent from the start, and they have no intention on getting signed or anything. They just want to be completely DIY. And then we have people that are, just doing it for fun on the side or whatever, just pretty much every version of an independent artist you could think of is what I'm going for here. So this next question is, have you guys always been independent, or were you ever signed to a label or anything like that?
No, we've always been independent. We've had a couple of pretty good opportunities to sign. And I don't know if you've ever felt like this, or you did maybe when you were in Era or now with Artificials, but it was such a weird moment of, and I'm not going to name the labels, but when we did get to those opportunities of like, do we bite the bullet and sign, or do we stay independent? And the pros and cons of both. And I think there were 3 big ones, but each time over the years that happened, we just decided, hey, we're going to do this independently. And I mean, it's weird because like after you make that decision, every time afterwards, you kind of look back and have a little bit of guilt or remorse, or kind of like, oh, maybe I should have done that. But honestly, I think in the end, it's probably helped us a lot. And we've had full creative control, so we get to do kind of anything and everything we want to. But on the flip side, I've had to learn how to, shoot photo, video, edit, produce, mix, master. I mean, just kind of everything in between. It's a weird trade-off for sure.
Yeah. I think nowadays, dude, like that's just what it takes to be independent, is you kind of have to be a jack of all trades. You got to be the publicist, the photographer, the videographer, everything. It's a lot of work if you're going to do it yourself.
It's so much work. And like, I don't know if you remember this, like the OG days of YouTube, like 2007 or 8, or I don't know when it was, but forever ago. I mean, you could have like a little webcam in 360p or something and post a crappy cover and it would just kind of blow up, right? But now any musician really, you're kind of expected to know like the bare basics of like videography and editing and everything in between. And it's so weird to me because now it's just expected. It's not like an extra skill. It's kind of like a prerequisite to get your stuff out there. You have to make it more palatable, I guess, if that makes sense.
Exactly. I still think there could be like an organic like explosion with a piece of content, but it would have to be something unique or really, really awesome. And then it would take off and you wouldn't need all this like you were saying, the prerequisite stuff. You just need that awesome piece of content, but to create that awesome piece of content is rare. It's few and far between, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. You're definitely right.
So the goal of the band, has it always been like we're just going to be independent, or has there been a goal to like get signed or do more with it?
I mean, I think originally, actually, I know originally the goal was definitely to get signed. That's always what we wanted, was we wanted to be a signed band to like Sumerian or Rise or like any of these, big labels. And then we wanted to tour full time. But I think as we kind of got older and matured a little bit and started doing a lot of things by ourselves, we kind of saw the benefits of staying independent, having your own side gigs and not having to tour as much and not having to do a lot of different things while maintaining full creative control. So to answer your question, I think we started that way, but somewhere in the middle, we ended up kind of going this way of being independent. And now we just kind of do it how we want, which, has been awesome. And I don't want to do this the whole podcast, but I want to flip it on you though. I mean, what is y'all's goal for the Artificials? Are you guys trying to stay independent, or are you guys actually going for like a full label?
We're pretty much just independent, man. Like I've experienced the music business world when it comes to labels and executives and all this other crap. Like I don't want any part in it. I don't. I mean, I hate to crush people's dreams and stuff that are listening, but for me and my experience, I don't want any part of it for the rest of my life. I want full creative control when it comes to our music, everything, our content, our money, everything. Because right now, like being older, like I'm in my 30s now. So like I do it for the love of music because, dude, I've been playing music since I was 10 years old. If I was doing it for money, I would have quit a long time ago. But I do it because I love it. But now, since I'm older, obviously other variables are at place. Like I've got to make a living with it. So now that's what we're doing. We're taking the approach of, using the Artificials as a business, and building a legit fan base where like a community kind of fan base, not just like, oh, we love your stuff. No, like we're actually like, we got a Discord with our fans. We talk to basically every day, like they're friends, they are our friends, So that's what it's about for us, man. It's just building a community and sticking to the DIY mindset, just reaping all the benefit for us, because we don't want to split any of that with a label or a manager or anything like that. Like I'll make another point with live shows. Like we don't play live shows. I don't think we could, because right now, we have 3 kids and we're raising 3 kids right now. So it's not in the cards right now for us to play live shows, but maybe later down the road, we might consider it if the opportunity presents itself. But right now we're just kind of an internet band and, trying to make a living with it in that regard, which I think a lot of people could do. Like I want to talk to a lot of people from all walks, but at the same time, like I'm really interested in the people that are like trying to make a living with it, like on the internet, because the internet, dude, is like, it's the key, man. You can turn your passion into a business. And that's what we're trying to do here, is turn our passion into a business.
That's awesome. I totally sympathize with you though on pretty much every point you said. You said it really well. And I don't know. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. I've seen it like in movies and the TV shows or whatever, but like we had an opportunity, I think it was our first one, to sign to a decent label. And I remember one of the stipulations was that we would have to go to a producer of their choice.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, cool. And so we started talking to them and they started talking about the craziest, like, oh, we're going to do this and get you the radio sound and do all this other stuff and basically write it for us. And yeah, it was not about that at all. So that was kind of it. But I definitely, I see what you're saying, man. I feel the same way.
I'll say that it's not always like that. Like when you talk to a label, they're not always going to say, hey, we want you to record with this person and have this specific sound. Some labels will, though. It's like half and half, like the bigger labels, they probably will. They'll probably tell you, hey, we need to change this. You guys need to start wearing this. They'll basically kind of guide you. But there's some label, like the smaller independent labels, they just want you to create what you're creating. And, that's why we went with Tragic, is because they didn't really want their hand too much in it. They were trying to get us to go to some other guy. We were like, no, we don't want to sign if we go with that person. And they were like, okay, you guys can pick who you want. So we ended up going with who we wanted to go with.
Didn't y'all go with Brian Hood?
Yeah, that was who we wanted to go with. But there was another guy,
Nice.
and I think he's actually a big producer now. I think they call him Wizard Blood now, I think.
Oh, Drew Falk.
Yeah, Drew Falk. Drew Falk is who they wanted us
Yeah,
to go
yeah,
to. And he's good. He's a great
right.
producer and everything, but like we didn't know anything about this guy. He didn't know anything about us or our sound, so we were just like, nah.
I feel that. And to your point, it's like they're definitely not all like that. I know a ton of people from labels that are awesome and like would never do anything like that. I think it was just, and it maybe it swayed our decision on what we were going to do, but it came in a weird spot where we were kind of toying with the decision on like, do we go this way or this way anyway? And I think it influenced a lot, all of us, to stay the, independent route.
That's cool, man. I'm glad to see that, dude. Like I admire that a lot, that you guys are independent. You can still do it today. Like that's what I love, is like the label route is like getting smaller and smaller. People are starting to kind of do things themselves now, which is cool, but comes with a lot of work.
Dude, it definitely does.
So if I remember correctly, your band toured Europe on your own dime, basically, right?
We did, and yeah, it was an experience, man. We got hit up to do it, and this promoter put it together, and we were with some killer bands, band from the Netherlands called Athena's Word. And yeah, so we went on this like 10 or 20 day run. I think it was like 20 days or something like that, somewhere in between, all over Europe. And man, it was wild. My dad actually went, and he was the tour manager, bus driver. I mean, to be honest, we would have been totally lost without him, because we were like, had no idea what was going on, no sleep. He was driving us around, getting us point A to point B. But yeah, we did that pretty much all ourselves. And then, we got paid every night, and it pretty much got us to stay and then go to the next place and then get home. But I don't know if I'd ever do it again, but it was a good experience for sure.
That's cool that you got to experience that with your dad. That's the coolest thing to me.
It is, man. And like, I mean, that's kind of how I started playing music. Is he's like the most badass dude. He used to run sound live for like Van Halen and ZZ Top and all these bands in the 80s and early 90s in St. Louis and then in Austin. And so when I was growing up, I just grew up around musicians all the time. And, he would play all the time. And so I just kind of like, I don't think I really had a choice, right? I was going to be in music somewhere. But yeah, it was cool to have him on there, because he had been around touring bands like his whole life, and so he kind of knew what to do and how to handle situations. So it was nice having him around for sure.
That's awesome, man. So you guys made that happen yourselves, though, right? Like you funded it, like plane tickets and all that.
We did, yeah. We got like a guarantee every night, and then ticket sales and merch and things like that. But yeah, as far as like getting there, we had to cover all that. And then maybe you can attest to this when you were playing a lot of shows, but we were promised full backline gear. So we're like, yeah, no problem. We'll just bring our instruments and be fine. And so we pull up first day of tour. It's like 2 hours to our first show. Yeah. And our promoter's there, and he's got the van. He's like, here you go. And dude, it's like a Line 6 cab, like a half-broken crankhead. Oh my god! And then like some Ampeg combo bass amp, and then like I don't know, the drums had like one tom. Dude, it was like there was no way. And thank goodness the supporting band, Athena's Word, were so nice. They were so cool and let us use all their gear the whole tour. I mean, every night. Otherwise, we would have been sunk. But it was a mess, man. Like I said, it was fun that we got to do it and fund it, but I don't think we'd ever do it again.
Yeah, but that might have been a blessing in disguise for you, though, because like bringing your instruments overseas like that, like is a hassle in itself, with bringing it on the plane and all that stuff. So it might have been better to work out that way.
Yeah, it might have actually. That's a good point.
I know I would hate to travel with an instrument and have it lost in like baggage claim or whatever,
Well, so we didn't bring like our amps or anything, but we did bring like our guitars, dude. And my favorite guitar got screwed up by American Airlines bad. Like I had this travel case for 3 guitars, so I put them in there and slotted them perfect. And I told them, I was like, hey, these are guitars, like if you need me to open it, go for it. And so they did, and I guess they reopened it, and they put 2 guitars in one slot. So there's 2 necks on top of each other. So anyway, we get to Europe, and I look on the back of it. Dude, there's a chunk missing out of the headstock on my yellow guitar, and just nicks everywhere. It's all beat up, and of course, they didn't do anything about it. But to your point, it's like, I'm kind of glad we don't tour internationally, because dude, I was so heartbroken when I saw that. I was like, that's my baby, and it's all beat up.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. I'd hate for that to happen to me, man.
Yeah, I was not happy, that is for sure.
Yeah. So since you guys are independent, you guys are not really like, I guess, touring or playing a lot of shows or anything. It's just kind of like right now you guys are just doing your own thing, but still you're releasing music when you can. What do you guys do other than music? Like, you guys got like blue collar jobs and stuff like that?
Yeah, kind of. And to your point, yeah, we really aren't playing a ton of shows. We'll kind of cherry pick here and there, but we're definitely not touring. And we all work. I'm a sales engineer for an automation company. So I got a mechanical engineering degree and work at plants like Samsung and Tesla and do that whole thing.
Cool.
For my day job. Our vocalist is in the oil field, and then our drummer is a welder. And then old Peach, our clean vocalist and bass player, he works at Domino's. So yeah, we all work full time. So we're just kind of doing this when we can. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, like I said, kind of cherry picking shows here and there where it makes sense, and then releasing when we can. But yeah, we all have families and stuff. So it's kind of like I sympathize with you a lot, because I know you said you have 3 kids and the full get up and all that stuff. And like our drummer has kids, our vocalist has kids. And so it's like, it's really hard to get everybody coordinated with full families to go and play a run of shows or do all that stuff. So it makes it a little tough, but we try and manage.
Yeah, it's hard, especially if you have a family. But I still think it's possible to remain relevant, like through just the internet, dude. Like, you don't have to play shows anymore. I mean, it is important. I'm not saying it's not, but you can release music when you can or whatever, and you'll still have a fan base. It just depends on how you nurture that fan base. But like, what's the end goal though? Like, in the stage of the band and life right now, like, what's the end goal with the band now? Are you guys like trying to get signed, or are you just going to remain independent, or what's the goal?
Dude, I don't think so. I don't think we're really trying to get signed anymore. I think a lot of the allure to get signed was lost. You know, at least for me personally, that I had when I was like 18. That was the only thing I wanted. But now, kind of like you're saying, I've been around, I've bumped elbows with people, and I've kind of been through a lot of it. It's like, I don't want any part of that at all, like not even a little bit. And I think the other guys sympathize. So I think right now, man, we're just trying to write the music that we want to hear and having a blast doing it, and just doing it in our own time. So like you mentioned the term internet band. I mean, we're kind of in the same boat, essentially. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of been nice. This is the least stressed I've been creatively, I guess, because back when that was a push a couple of years ago to get signed, there was like this overwhelming kind of weight on my shoulders to like, hey, get stuff out there. You got to get stuff going so that, you know, we can get to the next level. But man, now it's been so fun because we just create the music we like when we want to. It's been so much better. So yeah, I think we're going to keep doing that, and never say never, but at least for right now, that's kind of the way it's looking. Yeah.
Dude, I respect that, man, for real. Like, I like to see stuff like that. People just create music because they love to do it. If getting signed was your goal, that'd be cool too. But getting signed nowadays, dude, it's oof. You're basically signing up to like give a lot of your creative property to somebody that has barely anything to do with it. You know, they're just basically going to give you promotion and stuff. They're going to take over 50% of your income from whatever it is you make in that band. I don't care who you are. I think that's a dumb deal. I think anybody that's trying to get signed now they need to really look at it like deeply and consider the alternative, you know, which is you can basically release your music yourself on DistroKid or whatever. You're your own label. You know, you get at least 80% of profit opposed to 20% of profit.
No, I agree. And I think something else that like people don't really talk about anymore is like, and I don't even know if they still do this a ton these days, but like advances, right? Like as a young guy in a band, a label offers you 10, 20, 30, 50, whatever grand, right, up front, and says, hey, you know, here you go to the studio, music video, all that stuff. But what they don't tell you is it's just like a high interest loan.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Like you have to pay it back, typically with interest, and then they double dip and still have like part of your royalties. And sometimes like in a 360 deal, you have like merch and ticket sales. But I totally agree with you. I think I was kind of answering it earlier from like an emotional standpoint of like why I didn't want to get signed. But from the business side of it, I don't know. I've only heard of a couple modern deals where it's like really mutually beneficial, like what you were talking about, where
it's rare.
The label gets a cut. You also get, you know, a lot of promotion from it. And it does make sense because there are those scenarios. I think there are bands that would benefit from a label that are in that position. But I think the majority nowadays, at least, that's not the case. And I think that was another big deciding factor is, I mean, every potential deal that we talked about or looked at was so lopsided out of our favor that from like a business standpoint, it's like if I was running like an LLC or something like that, I would never do this. You know what I mean? So why is a band any different?
Exactly. Yeah, you made a lot of good points, man. It's awful. Like, majority of bands are going to get the short end of the stick. It's very rare that a band will just get, like a fair deal. In order to get a fair deal, I would say create good music that you and the label both know is great music, and use that as leverage. Like, you have negotiation power as long as you have not said yes yet. You have that negotiation power. You have to kind of go into it with a mindset of like, if they say no, then so be it. It wasn't meant to be. A lot of newer bands, a lot of young bands, they like get all excited, like, oh, we're gonna get signed. Like, no, you need to pump the brakes and like really think, because you're going to hate yourself later for it when you're getting nothing. You're not getting any royalties or anything. You're just playing shows for the fun of it. I mean, which is it's part of it too, playing for the fun of it. But, and when you're thinking of it in a business aspect, you got to be able to at least, man, go buy you a meal,
No, that's so true. And you said it perfect. Like, leverage is like the key word. Like, if I had any advice to my younger self, is like focusing on leverage. Like, if you have it or if you don't, and if you don't, that's fine, but you're probably going to get screwed. And if you do, you need to be able to play it in a smart way where you don't give it up. Like you said, you don't want to say yes too early or give all your cards away. But man, it's hard when you're 18 and you've grown up going to like Warped Tour or whatever, seeing all your bands, and now you have a shot at it. And it's like, okay, well, I'm still going to be signed even if I sign my life away. You know what I mean? It is hard. But
a lot of bands came from that, though. Like if a lot of bands were smart and they were like, oh, that's a crappy deal, we probably wouldn't have a lot of the signed bands that we had, growing up. But it's a little different, though, for me, I feel like, nowadays, because it's just shifting, as far as, like, the internet technology, like, you can literally be your own label, just upload your stuff on DistroKid, So do you get into, like, your Spotify numbers at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I definitely don't obsess over them by any means, but it's more of mostly on the initial release, meaning, like, if we release something next week, right, for probably a week or so after, I'd be looking at it, just making sure everything was going good and that it was getting out to enough people. But after that, I don't really look at it a whole ton outside of like the release week or whatever, because of the, playlists and all that fancy stuff that happens when you initially release.
The reason I was asking is because another point I wanted to bring up is like the pay per streams, basically like what you get paid per stream on Spotify. Opposed to like Apple Music and things like that. It's garbage.
Dude, it is absurd. I don't know how it is for you guys, but I think we use CD Baby and I like handle all that stuff behind the scenes, but we get like royalty checks, right, from all the streaming services. And I can't begin to tell you how much smaller Spotify is. It's like 0.01% of like everything we make, and it's our biggest platform right now as far as like number of streams and stuff, and we do decently well for a independent band, but man, we get nothing from it, and it's crazy.
Spotify
and
pays
it
out
sucks.
0.003 to 0.005 of a cent.
Oh, is that really the number?
Yeah, it takes 250 streams to make $1.
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah. And like, it's such a weird dichotomy too, right? Because it's like, obviously we want the audience, and we've been placed on like some cool playlists on there, and it's helped us grow, so it's awesome. But on the flip side, it's like they don't pay at all, and that part really sucks. But I didn't know it was that small, man. That's crazy.
It's really bad. I've actually been studying a lot about that like recently, and kind of making videos about it on YouTube. But another thing I wanted to look into was BandCamp. Are you guys on BandCamp?
I think we are, and there's like a handful of platforms I am really bad at. We talked about Discord beforehand, joking around, but like, I'm bad at Twitter, I'm bad at BandCamp, and I'm bad at Discord. And for whatever reason, like, everybody says it's the way to go because I think they pay really well, right?
Well, BandCamp, they don't pay you for streams, which was the point I was going to make.
Okay.
It's basically where loyal fans could go and buy your merch, your song when they come out and everything like that. You can do pre-orders for singles or albums or whatever. And it's really cool because about 82% of the sale goes to you, which is way better than any other platform. You know, it's just direct to artists, and that's what I love about it. Like if you got a new song that's coming out, in my perspective now, I think it would be better to just have people pre-order it on BandCamp rather than go pre-save on Spotify, because it's going to take 250 streams for you to make $1. So why not just get these people to just buy the high quality track? Because when you upload your track, you can upload whatever file size you want. You can upload like a 24-bit WAV file. And when people buy the track, they get that high quality track. I mean, it just makes sense. Like, wouldn't you rather have the high quality version of the track rather than the compressed MP3 version of it on Spotify?
Well, dude, now I kind of feel like an idiot for not investing more time in BandCamp earlier, because you're one of like, I don't know, 20 of my buds that like swear by it. And they're like, no, this is the best way to get your stuff out there. And I don't know why, man. I just haven't looked at it. I know we're set up on there from when it first started a long time ago, but we don't have anything new on there. But I'm glad you and I are talking right now, because as soon as we get off, that's probably what I'm going to do tonight. I don't know. I think you convinced me. We've kind of been looking at alternative platforms, I guess, other than like Spotify and maybe Apple Music and all that stuff. But I mean, that sounds kind of like, again, I feel like I missed the boat on this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, dude, you got to get on this like years ago. And I just never did. But that's probably the route we're going to head to. Honestly, it sounds like way more beneficial for everybody involved, honestly.
For sure, man. Like there's a couple of things that I wish were different about BandCamp, which is splitting. You know, like since you're in a band with other dudes, you're going to want to split that income with them. So there's no system in place to where you can do like a percentage split with other bandmates. And that would actually be cool if BandCamp had that kind of feature in there where you can do like a automatic split. Like, so whatever sales you get, everyone gets their cut. I know you can do that in DistroKid or whatever distributor you have. You can do like splits.
Yeah, ours does that too. Yeah, that's weird that they don't have that. I would think that'd be a feature, but I guess not.
Yeah, and another thing is BandCamp does not pay you for streams. I just released a video on this, but it's basically BandCamp is teaming up with Epic Games. I don't know if they got bought out or if they're just teaming up with them. I don't know. The statement that BandCamp released was very vague. In the video, I was talking about how one of my main concerns was BandCamp doesn't pay out streaming royalties, because people stream music on BandCamp like all day, you know. So and you're not getting paid for any of those plays. So that's the only thing I can think of that, I don't know, if it was me, if I was running BandCamp, that's something that I would look into, is like offering payouts for stream royalties. But that, I feel like that's okay though, because you want people to buy the music now instead of just streaming it, which I know we're in the age of people just streaming music and stuff, but there are still people that buy music, like a lot of people.
Yeah, and like our album that we released in 2019, we decided to do a run of CDs. Like for us, it was a lot. I think we did like 500 or something, which, you know, for an independent artist now in these days is a lot, because it's nobody buys them, or at least that's what I thought. Yeah. Dude, we've got like 30 left or something, maybe. I mean, we sold so many, and I was like kind of blown away, because like you were saying, I thought streaming was, you know, what everybody did, but there's still a lot of people that want like a hard copy or want like to buy the file or whatever and appreciate that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I just think that, like, since we're always evolving technology wise, man. So I think that we're just going to have to get more creative with the type of product we offer. You know, like I was thinking of doing this thing where I was going to offer like digital download cards, but they would be mailed out to you. So you would pre-order the song, and then like I get that pre-order, I would send you the download card, and when you get it in the mail, it would either be like on a card with the code on it, or it would be like a USB flash drive with the song on the flash drive, and then like tabs to the song, or like the artwork included with it, you know?
You know what's crazy is I actually did that for our album release. That was part of the package. Is like, so if you pre-ordered the album, you got like a physical CD, like a hoodie or something like that. But then our previous stuff, I had a download card where it had like a QR code on like a business card thing. And you could go there, and it had like all of our previous catalog, everything, and tabs and artwork, and then something else. And I think so when I mailed it out, I'd like write a note and then all of that was included. And it was cool, man. A lot of people that just knew us from our newer stuff got a chance to hear our older stuff. And it's pretty cool. Like you can set it up and just scan it and it pulls it up and then you can just download from there. So I would definitely do it if you haven't before. It's pretty easy to do.
That's something I was thinking of doing for the end of term release for the year, because this year we're doing a single every month, and by the end of the year we'll have 12 singles. And then I was going to compile them all up into like one release, I guess, like a 2022 album or something, and then like I guess we can, offer that as like either a download card or something. Just, I don't know. I want to get creative with it, but BandCamp's going to allow us to do that. I'm stoked about it.
That's awesome. I don't want to get like too off track here, but I'm super curious about this. You mentioned this like 2 times. So you guys are doing a single every month. Mm-hmm. Have you already written all of them and you're just like scheduling the releases, or you're just committing to I'm writing something every month and we're just getting it out?
Yep. We have nothing pre-planned or anything. Like I do have like archives of ideas that I've had for years that I kind of just pull from. Like this song that I'm writing this month is a little thing I wrote when me and my wife first got married, and we were staying at her parents' house, and I had like my little studio set up in her room, and this was the first thing I wrote after we got married. And I found it on one of my old hard drives the other day, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be the next single. So I just picked out of that, and I didn't even know what I wrote. I had to listen to it and relearn it. So now that's going to be the single. But usually, it would go like, I just don't have any idea what I'm writing, just writing from the top of my mind and just committing to getting it out every single month.
Dude, I respect that so much, because I don't know, like, unless you've been there and done that, so much goes into like a good release, because it's not enough to just write the song. You have to mix it, master it, bundle it up, and then album artwork, right? Do you release it with a lyric video, music video? And then, I don't know how you do this, but we found the best way for us to release is like uploading it to distribution 4 to 6 weeks before the release date, right? Because then it can get picked up by different playlists and things like that. But my point is like there's so much planning to do that. I can't imagine doing like one a month. That, like, just hearing that like already stresses me out. I'm like, I don't know. But I mean, I respect the hell out of that, man. That's awesome. That'll be really cool.
Yeah, man. So far it's going pretty well. Like, honestly, it started as like a case study, because I wanted to see, like, last year, the Artificials, dude, we did not release anything really. Like, we weren't really focusing on the band or anything. We were just kind of releasing music whenever we could. And I wanted to start a new YouTube channel as like a case study on, does releasing a single every month actually work? Like, do you grow? Is it effective? Whatever. So it's honestly like a case study. So at the end of the year, I'm going to compile all my data, my findings and all this. And I'm going to show the graphs and stuff of our growth. And so far, dude, like our growth is like going upwards. Like, we're starting to get more streams, more followers, like everything's going up. So I think it's working.
Dude, that is super interesting, and I don't know if anybody's done like a good case study on that before. So I'm like really curious to see how it turns out, because I know people swear by that. They're like, oh, nowadays with the algorithm, you have to like keep putting stuff out there. But it's gonna be cool to, at the end of this year, I'll probably hit you up honestly and talk to you about it again. But yeah. No, that's awesome, and I just got done jamming Cardinal Shift, by the way. That song was amazing. I'm assuming that's February's, right?
Yeah, that was February's single.
Yeah, super sick, dude. I'm stoked to hear all the rest of them. I don't know how you're gonna crank out, what is that, 10 more, but I'm sure you will.
Dude, I don't know how I am either. Like, honestly, like, being totally candid with you right now, dude, like, we didn't have that song done. About a week and a half before it released, it was not done. Like, Sarah didn't even have the vocals written. Like, we got the vocals written, tracked, tuned, and mixed within the week before it released.
Man, well, I would have never guessed that, because it sounds sick, but it's like polished and well written and like well structured too. So like my first time listening, my assumption was like, oh, they've been sitting on this for a while, or like been toying. Like, I would have never guessed the week before. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. Like it all just came together at the very, like, I was so stressed. I had an ulcer, and I don't ever get that stressed.
Dude, okay. I'm going to go on a tangent, because I relate to that so much. When we did our album, same thing, we like committed to doing, I think it was like 10 or 11 songs or something like that. And we came into the studio, we had it booked. Everybody, like I said, we all worked. So we took off, big commitment to all be there. And we come in, and I think we only have like 5 or 6 done, and the others are like very much not done. So I was in like a Motel 6 or 8 or whatever, I don't know, a really crappy hotel. And the night before, like I'd record all day, like a 12-hour day, and then I'd go to the hotel, and I had my little Scarlett 2i2 at the time and my laptop, and I would just bang it out. But to your point, dude, I was so sleep deprived and stressed. I had like ulcers on the inside and like a cold. Oh, it was terrible. I like couldn't chew or swallow for like a week. That sucks.
Dude, I was starting to get scared because like this ulcer got so big, it was like hurting my eye. Starting to get
causing you like brain damage.
Yeah, I thought I was like getting a tumor or something. I was like, what's going on right now? And it was honestly because I was stressed that we weren't going to be able to release a song. But we did. We released it on the very last day of February 28th.
Dude, that is crazy. And that's a real thing, man. Like, I don't know about you, but like being sleep deprived and stressed like that when you know you have a deadline is so weird. But sometimes the best stuff comes out of that. Yeah. Like when you're so tired, you can't think straight, and you just have to like push and grind it out. Yeah, I've definitely been there. But that's funny about the ulcer thing, man. I've never heard of that happening to anybody else. I thought I was just crazy. And like I couldn't talk for like a week because like my mouth is jacked.
Oh my God, dude. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. Like, that's what I'm saying. I never get stressed. Like, I'm a super chill person. So the fact that happened, like, you know that I was, like, really stressed.
Dang, man. Well, hopefully I will, I'll say a prayer for you that the next 10 months go a little smoother than that one.
Thank you. I think they will be. I think it honestly, like, I hate to put it on Sarah, but she wrote some lyrics, then she ended up hating them. Like, she was like, no, let's not use this. And it was literally like the week before the release. So I was like, what are you doing? Let's like, do you have backup lyrics? And she's like, no. And then she's just like, she's trying to get inspired too, you know, because we're trying to pull this out of thin air. So finally, like, she just gets it in her to like write this song, and she wrote it, and we packaged it up and it got it done. So,
well, dude, it ended up super sick. I like that song a lot. So, and I meant to ask you this too. So I'm assuming like you mix and master everything, right?
Yeah, I do everything.
Like, yeah, you're engineer, producer, mix, master.
And I design the artwork.
That. Oh, you do? Yeah. Okay, see, I didn't know that either.
The artwork I designed on Microsoft Paint.
Wait, no way. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Wait, for the last single?
For the last single, yeah, Cardinal Shift. I made that on Microsoft Paint.
But it looks like, I'm looking at it. It looks like good. How?
I'm a very artistic person. I can do a lot with very little. But I enjoy it though, man. That's the thing. Like it's not anything that's like I hate. Like, it's a labor of love, dude. I love doing the artwork. I love doing the video stuff. I mean, I'm just an all-around creative person. I just love diving into all this stuff. But the thing is I'm realizing, like, because I am such a jack of all trades, like, a 1 month is a very short time to get all this done for just one person. And the only thing that Sarah does is pretty much just write the lyrics and tracks or vocals. So I have no help outside of that, you know.
I definitely sympathize with you there, because I'm kind of that guy for our band. And I think that's why I'm super stoked to talk to you, and I was so excited to get on here, is because like there's not a whole lot of people like us that are still doing that, you know what I mean? But when you learn something, like, do you get a high off learning like new things and kind of being somewhat successful at them? Because like for me, for example, same as you, I didn't really know anything about video or like photo or editing or recording, mixing, whatever. And so like I've just kind of used YouTube and other people to like learn over years and years. But for me, it was almost like kind of like a video game. I know it's a bad analogy, but I felt like I kept leveling up, and it was almost like this high of like, okay, I can't do this, but I can figure it out. And then you learn and you're like, okay, how do I do this? You know, it does get kind of taxing, because like you said, it's like I kind of do everything in our band, and it's awesome. But when you're up against the deadline, it's hard, because like don't really have any help, you know.
It's a blessing and a curse, man. I probably need to like outsource some of this stuff eventually, and I probably will once we, you know, gain some more traction and stuff like that, and things get more overwhelming with what I have to do. But you know, for now, I think I've got all I can handle. The podcast is just something that I do to gain some more perspective from other musicians alike. And like you were saying, like you're the type of person where like it was like leveling up, like a video game. I think of it in the same regard. Like I enjoy doing something that my mind tells me I can't.
Yeah, and it's cool to like today, I don't know how to do this at all. Like, no, I don't even know where to start, right? And then next week it's done and I have learned it and now I picked up a skill. I might not remember everything, but like you get better. Like to your point, it started like that. Now I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. I don't know how you are, but some nights like I get off work and then I just do this and just like grind it out and then get up and do it again. So sometimes I need to like tell myself to step back and kind of chill out for a little while.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have that, dude. I don't have that little thing in my head that goes, "Stop. You need to get some rest." Like I'll push through because I don't know, man. I'm just that type of person. Just I guess an extreme creative. I just want to get it done, and I guess it kind of makes sense that we're doing this single a month thing. It's really testing my abilities and what we can accomplish. And I think we're gonna see a lot of growth. And I'd like to continue after, like next year. I'd like to continue, but it might look a little different. It might not be exactly the same as this year.
It's only going to help you in every aspect. Like you're going to be so much more refined at songwriting and producing, mixing, mastering. Like it's going to help all that. But it's just, I mean, it makes sense now after talking to you about that. Like I get that because not a lot of people would do that or willingly put themselves in that situation, right? And just say, okay, I'm doing one a month. And at the end of the month, it's going out to the world and that's it. I mean, I respect that, dude. That's a hard thing to do and like stay committed to for sure.
And dude, it comes with its challenges, dude. Like every month there's something different. Like this month, I know we're going to have a challenge because the song that I'm writing is a lot more like heavy and like kind of technical. So putting singing vocals to that is going to be a challenge.
Man, I don't know. And again, I don't want to go off on like a big tangent, but you guys were kind of like, in my opinion, one of the pioneers or the first band I heard do it really well, like in era, and you still do it now, like in the Artificials, but making heavy music that's technical with like melodic phrasing over it or like melodic singing. I feel like that is so hard to do and like hard to do effectively because I know we still struggle with it. And thank goodness I have our clean vocalist Parker because he sounds a lot like her, where he writes all the vocal lines and lyrics and melodies, and that's his job. And then I do mostly the instrumentals and everything else. But man, it's so hard to like get those things to gel together because naturally they don't really want to, right? You have all this heaviness and technical guitar riffs and like all this stuff happening, and then you have these like really pristine clean vocals that are supposed to be catchy. And I don't know, man, I want to say I respect you for like somehow figuring that out early on. Do you have a way that you go about doing that where it like works well? How do you guys write vocals to your instrumentals? Do you write the vocal melodies or does she do it?
We both do because she knows more about like vocal melody than I do, but I also, like I'm a songwriter, so I know what melodies would work as well. But coming from like a voice standpoint, like she helps me like what she can and can't do. So if we're sitting here working on something, I'll offer her what I think should go over this part. And she'll be like, okay, that sounds good, but I was thinking something more like this. And then she'll sing something and I'll be like, hey, I didn't think of that. That was cool. So that's how we work together. But honestly, it really just stems like for me, like the ability to do that stems from, and I say it all the time, man. It's almost like I'm a broken record, but Misery Signals. When I first heard Misery Signals, I was like, mind blown. Like this band found a way to make the prettiest guitars sound so cool with heavy stuff going on in the back. And I was like, I want to do that. Like I want whatever band or music that I create, like I want my band to do that because that was like the biggest appeal to like heavy music. I didn't really like music that was just strictly heavy the whole time. And I didn't like music that was just too boring and pretty the whole time. I liked the whole mixture of it. And that's why Misery Signals is such a big inspiration for me, is because they were the perfect blend of that. And my whole music career, I've been trying to do that as well.
Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. And that's another band I totally missed the boat on. Like our frontman, Clayton, he's kind of like my big brother. And so when I like joined the band, I was jamming like August Burns Red and Parkway and like Old Kill Switch and all those. And that was great. But like there was this whole world like I had never been exposed to ever. And so my first I guess, exposure to that was you guys, like Old Era. And then after that, he showed me Misery Signals and a couple other ones. And like you said, my mind was just blown because I was like, okay, it takes all the stuff I really like about this genre and this genre and somehow makes them work together like this weird way. So kind of like you, I think that's what we've been chasing ever since, is like trying to do that in our own way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the biggest thing too, is like, I don't want to be a ripoff. Okay. Obviously I don't want to rip this band off, but like they are such a huge inspiration. I could probably make it my own. And that's what I've done, like that's what I brought to the table with Era. But when I joined Era, they were doing sort of the similar thing too. Like that's why I joined Era, and they kind of caught my attention because the stuff they were doing was like the perfect mixture of like heavy melodic. So I was like, hey, these dudes get it too. And, it just made sense for us all to work together.
Yeah, definitely. Nice.
Okay, so I got 2 more questions there real quick. Do you have any advice for anyone out there looking to become an independent artist?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'll try and keep the answer like concise because I know we're running out of time, but I would say to really branch out and learn a lot of skills. Kind of like we were talking about, you have to be a jack of all trades, especially in today's atmosphere, because so many people know how to do the bare minimum, which like we talked about is like video, photo, just whatever. And so you're going to have to learn those things, but you're going to have to learn a ton of stuff to make you stand out too, right? Like what can you offer that X, Y, and Z band can't? Or what are you good at that they're not good at, right? You have to find a way to make yourself stand out. And I feel like what labels used to do is they used to tell people, hey, these guys are important. You should listen to them, right? Mm-hmm. And just because they were a big label, people would be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But when you're independent, you don't have that. So you have to find what makes you stand out. Why are you different? Why should people listen to you? And obviously, that's the hardest thing in the world to do, but it's kind of what we're all chasing, right? So I guess my advice would be like, don't be afraid to learn things you're not good at. And you're probably going to have to if you want to make it anywhere, for sure.
Good answer, man. Good answer. Is there anything that your band is about to release or anything you want us to know about, like any singles or anything like that?
Yeah, actually, we haven't talked about it at all, but I figure this would be a great spot to, I guess, soft announce it, do my shameless plug. No, we're releasing a new single called Sea of Red. Haven't really pinned down a release date yet, but I just got done shooting the artwork and bounced it off to my boy Kevin at Soft Surrogate to kind of wrap that up. And then we already have the master done. So I don't know, maybe in the next 2 months we'll have a single. And then we're not quite as ambitious as you are. We're not doing 10 more this year, but I think we're going to do a handful more and maybe release an EP at the end of the year. Kind of like what you're doing, just like half the size or a quarter or something.
Not that dude. It's not for everybody.
No, it's definitely not for me. But yeah, so that's what we have going on. That'll be next month sometime. But I'm sure we'll figure out the release date in the next couple days.
Cool, man. Yeah, well, let me know whenever you release it. That way I can like link people to it in the comment section or something.
I definitely will. As soon as I find out, you'll be the first to know.
Cool, man. Dude, and I will say, man, something I forgot to mention earlier. Dude, my favorite track by you guys was I don't know how you say it. Fenrir.
Oh, Fenrir. Thanks, man.
I remember you sending me that track, or someone, I can't remember if it was you or the vocalist, but one of you guys sent me the track before it was done, like before it had vocals on it, and it was so sick. Yeah. But then when it finally came out, it was like even more sick.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's definitely our vocalist. I think I remember that. I think he sent it to you beforehand. No, thanks, man. I appreciate that. That was a sleeper. I'd been sleeping, or not sleeping, but I had that riff for a while and just it wouldn't like fit with anything. And I don't know if you ever have this, but like it was in the riff graveyard. And then one day, kind of like you were saying, like in the archive, I pulled it up and like overnight just wrote the rest of it. And then that was kind of like it. But for like 3 years, man, it just kind of slept in a file somewhere on my hard drive.
I feel like that song was really well written. Like there was a lot of cool things. Like you did something in the beginning with the tapping. I don't know if it's tapping in the beginning or something, or this really fast riff. And then the beat changes on it. Like the drums change, like the time signatures or something like that. And I thought that was really creative. That was cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I actually have no idea what I'm doing there, but my drummer buddy, Thomas, who's like extremely intelligent when it comes to like rhythms and things like that. I was tabbing this out and I didn't know how to like I didn't know if I was changing the time signature or the like, I didn't know what was going on, but it felt right. And I was like, this sounds cool.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. And he had to sit down with me on FaceTime for an hour and like explain to me what was happening. And I was like, okay, I get it now. But thanks, man. I appreciate it. I don't know what's going on there, but it's
you don't even know what's going on.
It's
there.
cool, I guess.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a really great song, man. Very well written, super heavy. The chorus is very catchy. Like, dude, all around, just top notch track.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Means a lot.
Yeah, no problem, man. So yeah, man, it's been cool talking to you.
Yeah, this was a blast, and it was really cool to kind of get your perspective on a lot of things I go through like day to day and that you go through, and it's cool to talk to somebody that gets it. So it's been fun, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, man. I appreciate you being on here with me and talking.
All right. Later, brother.
Later, man.
See you, man.